to school night.
Hooray for second grade.
Okay, so just a little bit about your second grade teachers. I am Mrs. Bowl. Those are my girls on the left, Catherine and Allison. We were in Maine this summer. And then during quarantine, I had kind of foster failed two little doggies down there on the left. They became my little adopted Jack and Gus. Little bit about me. I grew up in Parsippany, went to Lake Parsippany School until I moved to second grade, and then I moved to the other side of Parsippany, and I went to Troy Hills, to Central, and then to Parsippany High School, where I graduated high school from. So that's a little bit about your second grade teacher. That is Mrs. Bowl.
Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Manley, and that is a picture of Mr. Manley and our children Michael, Veronica, Caroline, and Sophia. And that's our little dog, Bocce, down below. And I grew up in Lake Parsippany as well. I am from Lake Parsippany. This is my home where I grew up. And I went to school at Lake Par. I went to Parsippany Hills, and now I live not far from there. But as you can tell, it's nice to come back to my roots. It really means something to me to be here at Lake Parsippany.
So a little bit about our classroom and the expectations that you're going to be expected to adhere to, and your child's going to expect to adhere to, are the following.
Okay, so please attend our office hours at 2 o'clock if you have any questions. We'd love to answer them, and we're here for you if you do have any questions, especially about your child's work. We ask that everyone is respectful and kind at all times to all people. And we ask you to be on time for our Google Meets. That is very important, because if you're not here on time, it really slows down the class, or Mrs. Bowl or I have to repeat the lesson, and then it makes it a little difficult for the flow of the class. Please know that your second graders are growing and you are becoming more of an independent learner.
So moving forward, worrying about classwork and homework. We're not giving a lot of homework right now, just so that you know. So we kind of expect you to do the classwork that we're giving to you when we're giving you the classwork. I know that there have been some issues with kids going ahead and trying to get the work done early. Just make sure that your child is listening to the lesson just like they would if they were in school, and not to do the assignment until the lesson actually has been taught, which goes into the next one, which is to lessen your distractions at home. So if you're at home and you've got a lot of stuff going on, you really want to find someplace quiet for your child to work, preferably at a desk or a table. Kitchen table's fine as long as there's not a lot of stuff going on. But you really want them to be able to sit at some type of table. Really, their bed, especially at such a young age, isn't really the optimal place for them to be learning. And with that, you also want to have them, when they log in the morning, you want to have them log into the Google Classroom and then read through the Google Doc if you're at home with them, because that'll kind of give them an idea of what to expect for the day, which is always listed. So if you go into if today's Monday, you're going into Monday's lessons, you can read what's going to be going on. There's normally a goal that they're going to be learning, and then, what to expect moving forward. Please try to make sure your child turns their assignments in on the day that they're due. Just because I know how I tend to work on checking to make sure that they are correct, more for me on the weekends. I'll go over and look at their work, so you might be getting multiple emails throughout the week or on the weekends if there's something not turned in. So just kind of stay on top of them, especially if they're home, if they didn't turn in their assignments. You've been great with that, honestly, for anybody that has been reached out to about getting back to me. And lastly, is just have your child be organized. Keep your things in the same place so that they know exactly where to look for them. Our last little bullet is just try your best, because you know what? What's more important than trying their best?
In second grade, we use our math books every day, and we use what's called Think Central on the computer. So every day we will be doing a lesson from our math book and then going onto the computer and doing a lesson from what we did in class every day on the computer. Then when the students are done with their Think Central and their math book, they have something called reflex math. Reflex math is very important because if the students they have to work until they get a green light. If you get 3 green lights a week, that sets your child up for success with their math facts for the year. And that is very important.
In science, our science is actually logged into the same account as our math, just so that you know. You can log in through Think Central into science also. We have not started that yet, so you're not going to have any assignments on there for science just yet, but that is the same login for our science unit. Social studies is very antiquated here. The books are probably as old as I am, which means that you are not going to have anything online. We do a lot of extra work that does not work through the book. Honestly, we don't really have even enough books to send home to everybody. So we're going to kind of just work and do supplemental materials to try and get us through teaching the curriculum to the kids. And then for ELA, our ELA model is for reading and writing. How that works daily. You'll see we do a mini lesson, and a mini lesson is exactly what it sounds like. It's a small lesson on a certain skill. And then what the children do is they take that mini lesson and they actually have to practice it. So if it's in writing and we're talking about, changing their endings and making it better, I'll show them what a good ending might look like, and then I'm going to ask them to go back into their writing and try and work on making their ending better in their own stories. Each child tends to work at their own level, which is a nice thing about the ELA model that we're working on within Parsippany. It depends on whatever level your child is. If your child's on her 4th story, great. If they're still working on their 1st story, that's okay. So just know that it's a nice model that each child will work at their own pace and the skills that work for them. With that ELA model, we also have our Rise Kids login, and there are different skills and comprehension. So if your child struggles with comprehension, that's a good way for them to be able to practice that. Our Rise Kids logins are D-Bowl 1 for Mrs. Bowles' class and Manly 1 for Mrs. Manley's class. But your children honestly should know how to log into Think Central and Reflex and Rise Kids. They can all go through their clever login, and they should be able to get in pretty easy. The last thing that we want to talk about is communication. I know that I have talked to a lot of you, so which is great, honestly. I think that kind of makes the whole thing successful. So the easiest way to send me a message is through email. I check it multiple times per day. I am a morning person. Mrs. Manley is not. So we are complete opposites. She's okay. She might be a morning person. She's also a night person. I am not. I am in bed by like 9:30, but you'll not get a reply at 5:30 in the morning.
Okay, so, you're definitely better than me on that part.
So we're just the opposite. You're not getting a reply if you send me an email at 10 o'clock at night. You'll get a reply the next morning. But those are our emails on this slide. So if you need anything, just go through those. Her email is Mr. Manley, which is hysterical. Mine is Debo. Okay, so the last thing is the Remind app. You want to text from your phone, just like it says, at Bowl 2 for if you're in Mrs. Bowles' class, and at Manley 2021 for Mrs. Manley's class. You do not have to sign up for both. You don't want to sign up for both because there might be something that Mrs. Bowl is doing that Mrs. Manley isn't, or Mrs. Manley's doing that Mrs. Bowl isn't. So just sign up for your class, and you'll get announcements like, it's picture day, so smile, or the school spirit days. So those are ways for you to be able to find out those announcements in the morning.
Okay, Mrs. Bowl and I just would like to finish by saying thank you for being here and listening to our whole presentation. But most of all, we want to say thank you for the gift of your child. It's something that we do not take lightly, and we really appreciate being able to work together with you to help your child be the best second grader they can be. And with that said, Mrs. Bowl has a great tip.
So I'm going to tell you something that I did with my own children from when they were in kindergarten. And every night I would end our day by going into my daughter's room. I have twins that are, in 8th grade now, but from when they were really little, they shared a room. So I would go in with a book and I would read one chapter from the book to them. And most people think that, you want your child to read to you, but to show that you love reading yourself and to be able to give that gift of reading to them, read to them at night. Make it the last thing that they do. I used to shut off all the lights. I used to put on a little flashlight and I used to just read a story to them. No pictures. They had to create the picture in their mind so that they, got tired. It was like a nice little routine right before they went to bed. So you don't have to take that advice. But to me, it's one of the things that I think are the main reason on why my kids actually, to this day, do enjoy reading. So best to you. If you need us, you know where to find us. And again, like Mrs. Manley said, thank you for the gift of your child. Bye, everybody.
Good night.